Previously on the Garage Engineer, we continue working rebuilding our 5 horsepower Western Auto boat motor made by Ahkdar. We repaired a fuel inlet that we broke while we were taking the motor apart. We put new lube in the lower end of the motor. We learned how to make handmade gaskets for our carb. We cleaned and rebuilt the remaining part gaskets of the carb with a rebuild kit. Finally, we assembled the motor and fired it up. Welcome to the Garage Engineer. In this video, we pick up where we left off from our last video. We had so much content on the Western Auto boat motor that we had to split it up into 2 videos. So we're going to pick up in this video where we left off, and we're going to start the repair on the plastic cowl that had been cracked. And let's get started. So the next thing I want to address is the crack that we had in our cowl. When we got it, must have been dropped on the corner and it cracked the plastic. So what we're going to do is do a little plastic repair. So the first thing I want to do is to clean the area that we are going to work on. So I just take some of this awesome cleaner. Spray it down here. Let's see, we get some of this oil and dirt off. And let's get it in the crack also. It doesn't look too bad. Let's just clean it up a little bit. Alright. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do just, it's like in welding, you're just going to do spot welding just to get the pieces together. So on the back side, I've got it lined up how I want it to look. It's all straight. And on the front, I'm just going to use my welding gun, or you can use the little smaller 5-watt ones. And you just, all you want to do is just touch it to melt it, just like you're welding. I just like to move it back and forth a little bit. You're just trying to get the plastic to melt. So after we got our spot welds in there, it's holding the crack together. But to strengthen it, we're going to take some milk jug material, which is HDPE plastic. And we're going to use that and melt it to add some material to our crack to hold it together. Now this isn't going to get, it'll give a little bit of strength, but it won't give it, it'll make it strong enough. But if you really want to reinforce it, if it's a real stress area, you can always use wire mesh, like a screen material, and melt that mesh into the plastic, and that will give it more physical strength. For this, I don't think this is a high stress area, so we're just going to do more cosmetic work on it. And I think it'll make it look good. So now I'll just go back and clean up the lumps and all that, just to kind of smooth it out and just kind of make it look a little bit neater. But that's pretty much it. The crack is filled. We'll take a look on the other side to see what it looks like. So this is from the front side. You see structurally it's back together. We do have the crack on the front. We'll have to fill that in with something before we paint it, but structurally wise it's back to normal, so we don't have that crack anymore. So now that everything is scuff sanded, we're going to take it outside, clean it up, and get it ready for paint. After cleaning the motor, I mask all the original labels on the front plate of the motor. So we got the front plate cleaned and taped up, and then we got the cowl cleaned. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint the main body and the front cover a blue. I'm using Duplicolor's engine paint so it resists heat, and it says it has ceramic, whatever that means, and the color is Old Ford Blue. So that's what the main color of the body of the motor is going to be. And then we just got some Rust-Oleum paint primer that's good for plastic, since the cowl is plastic, and we'll give that a good coat of cream color. So for the cowl, we're going to do like I said, a cream color. This is actually satin heirloom white is what the color we're going to use, and it matches pretty well with the plastic, so I'm pretty happy with that. It'll give a good 70s vibe. So now that we've got a light coat on both objects, what I'm going to do is put another light coat on, wait another 10 minutes, and then come back and then do a final kind of heavy coat on everything. So that's kind of the procedure we're going to do to paint these items. Now we got the motor out of the test barrel. I ended up spraying it down with degreaser, trying to get up a lot of the grime off. Now the next step is to get all the parts off and sand it and prep it and get it ready for paint. I sanded down the motor with 220 grit sandpaper just to get the scratches and the flaking paint off. So before we get started masking the motor down, I wanted to share a quick tip for you. And this is a Free Tool Tuesday. Well, I don't know what day it is, but it's free tool anyway. I don't get the newspaper anymore, but I love the newspaper, putting it down for painting on the ground or for masking up and covering items. So where do I get my newspapers? Good question. You go to your local library. If they have a periodical section, they probably get the newspaper every day and put it out. But eventually those newspapers have got to go out, and if they don't save them, they recycle them. Where my local library does recycle them, so you just go up there and ask them. And I asked them for a small stack, and they gave me all this. So I've got plenty to last me for a long time. I think we'll be set with not needing to get any more for a while. But let's get started. Everything is out of paint, and they turned out wonderful. The color and the finish looks great for just a simple rattle can finish. So now let's move on to the next step and get it put back together. So here's the moment of truth. We've got the motor set up in our tank. I removed the cover so I can, if I needed to make some idle adjustments, I could see how it's spinning. Filled the fuel tank up with fuel, so we're good to go. Let's see if we can get this cranked. Alright, choke is in, because I think it's been running well without the choke. We got it in start. Alright, let's give it a try. Whoa. Alright, let me hold it up a little higher here. Pull out the choke just a little bit. Pull the choke out. I think she's running pretty well. Let's get the cover on her and start her up one more time. Well, that brings us to a close of our restoring of our antique boat motor, our West Auto Esca brand motor, 5 horsepower. It's been fun. I'm glad we were able to take something that wasn't used back up to start working, and then also paint it to make it look a lot better, almost new. Thanks for joining us on this Can We Save It? And as a maker, remember the ABCs of making. Always be creating. Till next time.